Is Kawhi Leonard the new king of the NBA? Well, I think so, and I have some really good reasons why I think you should be thinking the same thing too. With that being said, I want to welcome you to Dreamers Pro, and we're going to get into the content today of talking about my favorite basketball player, Kawhi Leonard. Now, Kawhi Leonard, he's one of the top 5 NBA basketball players in the world. He's currently trending all over the world right now because he's playing in the playoffs, and he recently just had a career high in points in the playoffs of 45 points against the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, we're going to be talking about today why I think Kawhi Leonard is the true king of the NBA, or at least to be, and why, we should pay attention to him. Now, Kawhi Leonard currently plays for the Toronto Raptors, but before he actually used to play for the San Antonio Spurs. But when he first was drafted in 2011, he was drafted by the Indiana Pacers, and he was then traded overnight to the San Antonio Spurs that year in 2011. Now, since being drafted by the San Antonio Spurs, Kawhi has gone on to have a pretty illustrious and interesting career. Now, since being drafted in 2011, Kawhi Leonard won the 2014 NBA championship against the Miami Heat, against LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh, and he was actually the Finals MVP because of the stellar defense that he played against LeBron James in the Finals, and that was when people really started to take notice of him. Now, the interesting thing about Kawhi Leonard is when he came into the NBA, he was known to be a defensive specialist. He was really, really good on defense, and a lot of people said this guy plays defense like Scottie Pippen almost. Interesting thing about it, though, it was, as I said before, he was a defensive player, and he wasn't really good on offense. He was okay on offense, but what ended up happening over the next few years really astonished a lot of people around the league. Kawhi Leonard actually transformed himself into a sensational offensive basketball player, to the point where just 2 years ago he was averaging 25 points a game. And then he also became a 3-time All-Star and a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. Now, that's something really hard to do. And just to put it in context, Michael Jordan was only Defensive Player of the Year 1 time. Kobe Bryant never won it. LeBron James never won it. Only players like Scottie Pippen. So to have a player that was that good on defense, to also be able to play really well on offense, made him the best two-way player in basketball. But with all of these things being said, this is still not the reason why Kawhi Leonard is going to be the king of the NBA, because currently he's regarded as a top 5 player, as I said before. And the interesting thing is that Kawhi Leonard has a vast arsenal when it comes to his offensive game. For one, he has no real weakness in his game. He's a fantastic free throw shooter. He can shoot turnaround jump shots on either shoulder. He can post up. He can drive to the basket. He can shoot fadeaways. He can shoot the 3-point ball. He's a really, really, really strong basketball player with huge hands. And his hands are so big that actually he's known around the league and around the sports world as the Claw, because he has these really big palms that he uses to palm the basketball when he dunks, and it also allows him to play really good defense and steal. You can see many highlights of him online where he steals the ball away from people like Stephen Curry, James Harden, Ben Simmons, and many other great offensive players. That's how good Kawhi Leonard is. Now, before we go on any further, let me just make a case why I think Kawhi Leonard is going to be the next king of the NBA, and I think he's going to prove it this year by winning the NBA championship. That's my bet on him. Not sure, I have a bias towards him because I like him as a player, but I'm going to give you some reasons why Kawhi Leonard is well on his way to becoming the new king of basketball. Number one, he has the ability to transform organizations. Okay, when he moved over to the Toronto Raptors, okay, he was able to affect the culture of that organization. When the Toronto Raptors were as they were in the past, just a year ago, when they played against LeBron James in the playoffs, they were swept out of the playoffs. They did not have the mental toughness to really overcome adversity when unexpected things would happen to them. Just this year, 2 weeks ago, when the Raptors were playing against the Orlando Magic, they lost the first game, and since then they went on to win all 4 games. Just yesterday, or day before yesterday, the Toronto Raptors beat the Philadelphia Sixers in the first game one, and that's when Kawhi Leonard scored his 45 points as a playoff career high. And what I believe is that he has been able to affect that organization to the point where they have this unwavering trust in him, which has affected all of the players. The second thing that I believe is going to work in his favor is that Kawhi Leonard is very humble, which means that he's very focused. A person is very humble, is very focused. He's not focused on the bells and whistles. And actually, after he scored his career high in the playoffs, they asked him, they said, "Hey, dude, man, you just scored a career high." And he goes, "I'm not here for all the individual accolades. When I saw that we were up 20 points in the game, I was actually looking over to the bench for them to take me out of the game." He said, "My number one focus is to win." And I think that's where a lot of NBA players go wrong. They're focused on every other thing except winning. They focus on their brands, they focus on how they look, they focus on X, Y, and Z, what this person's saying about them on social media and all of this different stuff. Kawhi Leonard doesn't even have an Instagram account. If you think about it, in the world that we live in today, that an NBA basketball player, top 5 basketball player, does not have an Instagram account is actually really, really fascinating. But he doesn't, because that's just how focused he is on his work, and he's not moved by a lot of the things that other people are moved on. And finally, I think that Kawhi Leonard has this supreme self-confidence in himself because he has done it before. He has beaten the best. He's won an NBA championship. He's been a finals MVP, and that's something that sets him apart from a lot of his peers, because there are only a few other people out there, maybe Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry, LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, players like that have actually won championships, so they have a real reason to be confident. He's one of those people, and the chances are that confidence is only going to continue to grow under his leadership with the Toronto Raptors. And he has this, because of his confidence, I think it instills confidence in his teammates, because since he's so self-confident, they believe that they can be as well, because he doesn't have any doubt within himself. And as I said before, that is the reason why I'm picking the Toronto Raptors this year to win the NBA Finals, and Kawhi Leonard will be the king of the NBA the next coming season. So that was the purpose of this video. Just wanted to highlight a really great player, one of my favorite players in basketball. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. If you're a Kawhi Leonard fan, make sure you subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below of how you think he'll do in the playoffs this year. With that being said, this is Charles here. Peace.